Lucky Lefty podcast. The Onora boys are in the building. We are brought to you by Onora Whiskey at OnoraWhiskey.com. It is that premium American whiskey at OnoraWhiskey.com. And if you're going to drink, by all means, make sure that you do so
responsibly.
You got to do it responsibly, man. It's for the Culture Friday. And, Left, I'm on the message board over at Irish Breakdown. I see some things that kind of concern me at times. So, we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about the NFL playoffs, how the San Francisco-Dallas Cowboys game is truly, truly a perfect recruiting tool for Harry Heastan to all top offensive linemen in the classes of 24 and 25.
Couldn't have said it better yourself.
Absolutely. Kamani McLean, bro. Did anybody really think that he was going to choose Miami over Coach Prime?
No.
As a defensive back?
But, that's why Marcus Freeman need to start grabbing up some of the top linebackers in the country. We need to start playing his highlight tape on Twitter. Somebody need to leak that highlight tape, show him how raw he is.
But, he's brought in 2 top 5 linebacker classes. He did it when he was a defensive coordinator. He did it when he became a head coach.
Yeah, but you don't get the credit. You need the number one linebacker. Not the recruiting. You need the number one line.
See, that's why I disagree with you. And that's why we got to get our boy from the Athletic that was on with us before, man. He wrote a great article. Let me make sure I get the article right, bro. I saw this article last night, and I read a little bit. You know how somebody, look, he's a vet. So, Bruce Feldman, he was on our show before.
Oh, yeah, I know Bruce Feldman.
So, we got to get Bruce back on the show. He wrote, "Why is there a disparity in the CFB recruiting stars of NFL offensive and defensive studs?" It's a great article, right? And he talks about, you need 5 stars and 4 stars to win in college. But those 5 stars and 4 stars don't become the studs in the NFL. It's a fantastic article about all the top players and how they were all either 2 stars, 3 stars. And it really talks about what you're watching. And one of his case in points was Josh Jacobs. And he remembers watching Josh Jacobs as a Wildcat quarterback in high school. And wasn't really highly thought of in comparison to the rest of the guys that he came to Alabama with. But in football, man, a lot of times the bloom on the flower really doesn't reach full potential until later in the game. When you watch dominance in high school, it's usually because a young man physically is just better than everybody else, right? And you have these other guys that are still, coming into shape and rounding into form physically. So I'm gonna try and get him on the show next week, Left, to talk about this article, bro, because it was fantastic. He was not saying that you don't need 4 or 5 stars to win championships. That was not the point of the article. Right. To me, it shows the difference in being a big fish in a little pond and becoming a big fish on the next level, and what it takes to get to the next level. And maybe it's a mentality of kids that are 5 stars in high school that might not be willing to put in the necessary work to become that dude in the NFL, because that's a totally different level. So if things come easy to you, some people are just not willing to put in that work, man. And
it's a gratification thing. A lot of these 4 or 5 stars get the 4 or 5 stars gifts.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just I think it's no different than how Ezekiel Elliott signed for $50 million or Jalen Smith signed for $50 million. It's no way it doesn't impact your mental or hunger for the game. J. Cole just dropped a song where he was saying, he's worried about him getting some great bars when he's not worried about where his meal is coming from next. He said, "How do I stay hungry when I'm not worried about when my next meal is coming in?" So, trying to take on that challenge of being full but still being hungry, I think a lot of 4 or 5 stars deal with that, especially uh, when things are all going right. A lot of times for 2 or 3 stars, you're so doubted against so much that you usually don't see the results until later in your career, where you start gaining the skill and getting better to where they get that second contract, and now you're on top of the game. But let's not make a mistake, though. Most guys that are doing well in the league that we know of were also doing well in college as a 4 or 5 star.
Yeah, yeah. So once again, we're efforting to get Bruce Feldman on. He was on with us previously. Hopefully, we can get him on next week because I think it's a fantastic article to really talk about. With college and making the transition, and it connects, in my opinion, to why we see the transfer portal, which closed on yesterday, as hot as it's ever been on this year, man. Because the business aspect of viewing yourself on the next level, and unfortunately, due to injuries, uh, you didn't have a fair assessment slash opportunity to really go through that, I would say, and really assess things to what it would have really taken for you to be successful on the next level. But at the end of the day, the decision to stay or go, I'm shocked Jared Verse, which Jared Verse was a top 15 pick in the NFL draft, bro, this year, and chose to come back. Kids don't do that. Kids don't do it. Travis Etienne probably was a late first round pick, and he wanted to come back and play with his boy Trevor Lawrence. It's just
And
very
they got
interesting.
picked on the same team, so that's cool.
Yeah, yeah. And then yeah, like you said, I mean, you know, Big Pat is gonna have to send them home this weekend, but
Listen, I know a lot of people think that, but we have a number 1 pick quarterback ourselves. It'd be different if it was a guy like Dak Prescott who's going home this week. 4th round guy, never should have made it. But we got the number 1 quarterback, number 1 pick. He's supposed to be rivaling Pat Mahomes.
who is we?
Jacksonville.
When did you all of a sudden become a Jacksonville fan?
And I have always been a Jacksonville fan. I'm a
Here
Joe
we
Burrow
go.
fan when it comes to the
Here we
Bengals,
go.
but I
This
have always
dude.
been a Jacksonville. You see me
Dude,
wearing a sweatshirt.
man, I'm gonna put a new segment on this show for you called the bandwagon, dude.
You see me
The
wearing a sweatshirt
bandwagon. Man, Lucky Lefty
for
Podcast,
years.
Apple Podcast, Spotify, CFB Nation in conjunction with Irish Breakdown, man. All about great content. Leave 5 stars, leave your comments. It's the Lucky Lefty Podcast. We spin it. Now we spin it different. Now you are a Jacksonville Jaguar fan.
Listen, I've always been a Jacksonville Jaguar fan. It's just obviously we've never talked about it because we were the number 1 pick last year. And I'm obviously a Joe Burrow fan because I'm, close to Cincinnati. But my team is Jacksonville. And we're on the come up. I'm definitely not a fair weather fan because I'm a Jacksonville fan. I was a Jacksonville fan when we played Tom Brady and they cheated us when we were supposed to go to Super Bowl that off year. It was definitely an off year because we couldn't do it again. We had Blake Bortles. Who's talking about Jacksonville with Blake Bortles under the center? Come on, man. They didn't give me nothing to talk about. And then we got the first pick of the draft, first quarterback pick of the draft, number 1 pick. He's supposed to be doing this for Pat. Pat's supposed to be worried about him.
He's not.
Sunshine.
He's not.
He only lost 4 games in his entire career up into the NFL.
He's not.
All
He's
right.
not. I saw an interesting stat about him, though. He's undefeated on Saturday in his career.
What do you mean?
Trevor
Who,
Lawrence.
Pat?
Trevor Lawrence has never lost on Saturday in high school, college, and the pros. He's never
See?
lost on Saturday.
He a real one. That's why I'm
See?
like, this game is closer than what people think. We have an actual capable quarterback.
No, did I say it was about to be a blowout? I said y'all about to go home.
No. We're saying
See now I can say y'all since you claiming them now. I can make it personal now. Y'all about to go home.
How?
I don't care how y'all get there. Private jet, train,
So,
rental cars. I don't care how y'all get back to Jacksonville.
we're
That's on
sending Pat
y'all.
Mahomes home. First of all, we're hot right now, and it's about the hottest team winning. We have a great defense.
Mm-hmm.
We have a number one Travion Walker. He's doing great. Got the guy from Josh Allen from Kentucky. He's doing great.
Mm-hmm.
Got Christian Kirk,
Mm-hmm.
Zaire from Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
We got a squad,
Mm-hmm.
and we're sending Pat Mahomes home.
Mm-hmm.
We were so good. We threw 4 picks in the first
You
half.
do realize Pat Mahomes is already home, right?
We're sending him to his other home down the street, his palace, his $500 million palace.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Herbert gives him fits, so I'm not worried about what Patrick Mahomes worried about.
See what your boy Brandon Gilbert said?
You seen Duval be on my chest with my sweatshirts. Come on.
Maybe a picture of Lil Duval, but I ain't never seen Duval on any
As
of your
anybody that
apparel,
knows me,
bro.
know I'm a Jacksonville fan. Is obviously it's been nothing to talk about for so long, but now we're in the playoffs. It's time. It's time.
Okay.
And I got Joe Burrow and the others, doing his thing in Buffalo.
I like how you hedge your bet. I like how you hedge your bet. So basically what you're saying is either way, one of your boys is getting to the Super Bowl.
No, it's not even about that.
Because
It's not even about that.
No, because what you're saying is it's going to be the Jags and the Bengals in the AFC Championship game.
That'd be amazing.
That's what you're saying. Because you said Pat. You said Pat is going home.
Pat's definitely going home.
I already know you picking Joe Burrow and the Bengals.
Well, no, Joe Burrow's picking Joe Burrow. Josh is
okay. So once again, like I said, you're predicting an AFC Championship of the Bengals and the Jaguars. So you hedged your bet to make sure one of your quarterbacks
No, hedging. It just happened that way. I didn't put the tournament together.
It just happened that way.
I don't put the playoffs together.
Okay. All right. That's Lucky Lefty podcast. Left, boy, I tell you, you're a heck of a businessman, bro. Because you can negotiate with the best of them. You can negotiate with the best.
Jacksonville just happens to be in the playoffs this year. Finally, my favorite team, so I have to cheer for them.
Look, it's top 5 day, right? And let me tell you, top 5 day. Let me tell you the inspiration for this on for the Culture Friday right here on the Lucky Lefty podcast. We're going to talk about the top 5 pieces for Notre Dame to win a championship next year. Top 5 pieces for Notre Dame to win a championship next year, right? And then we're going to talk about the top 5 games of the schedule. Top 5 games of the schedule. And we might throw in some games outside of Notre Dame that we look forward to, like, this is something I might watch. Then, of course, we're going to give our predictions. Well, he's already given his predictions for the AFC.
AFC the best conference right now. It's the best conference. They got all the most exciting quarterbacks. It is. The AFC is the best conference. NFC is like old and nobody wants to see NFC win. AFC has the new generation quarterbacks.
Did the NFC win last year in the Super Bowl?
You're talking about one team. We're talking about what conference is better.
Did the NFC win the year before that in the Super Bowl?
Look, if the NFC,
you keep running your mouth.
I'm just saying. You're talking about one. Are we talking about conferences or we're talking about teams?
Well, you keep
one
saying which
team
conference
can be
is
good
better.
in the conference.
Okay.
One team can be good in the conference. The 49ers are way better than anybody in the NFC.
So basically you're saying that the SEC can't say they've dominated the playoffs because there's only been 3 teams that really have gotten to the playoffs for them.
Well, Ohio State can be in there. Clemson can put their hat in there. But the SEC is 2 teams in there every time.
So for people to say Clemson is the ACC.
No, because they've only been hot for what? 6, 7 years.
Okay, so what other ACC football program can you even promote at this point?
At this point, North Carolina, Drake May.
Stop. He just got there last year. What are you talking
Drake
about?
Drake May will have the team in the top 25 spot this year. So I mean that's
Okay.
relevant.
Okay.
He
Okay.
will. He'll have him like top 15. I mean, you know.
Okay. All right. All right. Oh man, it's Friday. I see you on one today, boy.
Oh my goodness.
You
I'm just
you
saying the
you
AFC
must
has a better.
you've had a lot of rain out there recently. The sky must be clear. You must be hitting a rooftop later on. You in a real good mood, boy, because you out here selling some wolf tickets today. You out here selling
Listen,
wolf tickets, talking about I wear Duval t-shirts all the time.
I got the
Man,
sweat. No, I gotta wear the sweatshirt. It's hard when you're not good. You know, what do we celebrate? We not good. Nothing to talk about.
so man, your boys Jimmy Smith and Keenan McCardell, those your boys, right?
I'm just saying, like, look, we
That's why
talked
you
about
wore.
it.
Is that why you wore 8, Mark Brunell?
We talked about David Garrard,
I'm just
Brian
asking you.
Leftwich.
Is not
Remember,
is Mark Brunell the reason you wore number 8
Mark
as a
Brunell is an
left-handed quarterback?
all-time lefty. He's in the ring of Jacksonville's Hall of Fame, all of that. I'm just saying, Jacksonville, I liked it when they had David Garrard. Remember we talked about that? You said, I remember David Garrard.
I
And
do
Brian
remember David
Leftwich,
Garrard.
Mark Brunell. I mean, it's a squad now. Maurice Jones-Drew. Remember? Fred Taylor. Stop it, man. Stop it, man. Stop it, man. We had a great team. Back when we beat Pittsburgh. Remember that? We was an 8-8 team. We went to Pittsburgh.
I love
David
the way you're
Garrard.
using that personal pronoun, boy. You're owning it too. You're
Oh,
owning it. We
yes,
remember
we.
when
We
we.
went all the way to Pittsburgh, cold night in Pittsburgh. Nobody thought we was gonna win. I had to sit Ben Roethlisberger down at home. 8-8.
Yo,
David Garrard did that.
somebody just challenged you, bro.
I don't have the hoodie here right now, but you know I had the hoodie on
Ah,
2 days ago.
there we go.
Oh,
Here we go.
we can move on. We can move on. They hate. They just hate.
So let me tell you what inspired this, bro. I'm on the message board at Irish Breakdown. And and look, I'm gonna say this too, right? Let me just say this. The thing that makes us different is that what just happened doesn't happen on most other shows. We can literally talk about anything and make it entertaining. That's the
Yeah.
chemistry. So I need people in the chat to relax because every show we do is centered around Notre Dame. Whether it's for 50 minutes, whether it's for 40 minutes, whether it's for 30 minutes. But enjoy the show because that's what we put on. We put on the show.
Especially
Because
if you
I
talk
had too
about
many
that.
people. I had too many people in the questions talking about I don't care about the NFL playoffs. Well, then turn the channel because we're gonna talk about it because it interests us.
And Notre Dame got a lot of guys in the NFL, so you should be
And
interested.
we turn the NFL playoffs into a promo for Harry Heastand. We always bring it back to Notre Dame all the time.
The
Like
game couldn't be played
relax.
without Harry Heastand and getting the Cowboys 49ers.
Oh,
Couldn't be played. They couldn't
good
roll guys
grief,
out there.
man. Some people choose happiness, like I said the other day, man. Just choose to be happy. It's okay. It's okay to talk about other things and center it around the main topic. That's what professional broadcasting is all about. I promise you. Go listen to any top radio show. It's what they do. So, like I said, or like I was saying, I was on the message board and I guess somehow, some way, top 5 rappers of all time came up on Irish Breakdown. And I guess Brian Driscoll gave his top 5. So everybody else started giving their top 5 rappers of all time. So that was the inspiration. Because I was like appalled by some of the lists that I saw. I was absolutely appalled. I was appalled. I was like, how dare you put that person in the top 5? And it was one person in particular that appalled me the most, but I know that's like a controversial individual to talk about when it's
Who?
top.
You gotta tell me now.
Yeah, we'll get to it. But what inspired me was I think top five pieces for a championship at Notre Dame is controversial as well. Because you know who would be at number one for me?
Who?
Al Washington.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, that's
And
because you well
it's-
versed in the team. Though most people wouldn't say that, but that's definitely the number one concern.
that young defensive line, look, you've had a full season with those young defensive linemen. And they're going to have another off season with Matt Bayless. That rushing yards per game has to be solved
Yeah,
immediately.
yeah.
It has to get
'Cause it
solved
can't without
immediately.
the D line.
Oh, we can
Can't
talk
put that
about
on the
Sam
linebacker.
Hartman and all that other stuff, bro. We got to solve that immediately. And that might be controversial because a lot of people already know. A lot of people want to throw Tommy right at the top of the list. Tommy has solved the quarterback recruiting issues.
Yep,
Tommy went and got a top notch quarterback for next year.
yep,
And Tyler Buckner has gotten better.
yeah,
Hey, I'm going to sit and wait.
yeah. We can sit and wait on Tommy,
I'm going to sit and wait on Tommy.
but we still know without even having to play, the D line needs to be fixed.
Man, look here, man. And you got to get Justin Scott.
Yeah, we got. Yeah, you just gotta.
See,
Yeah,
it's too much.
it's all encompassing. It's all
Yeah,
encompassing. It's not just on the field. It's recruiting.
yeah, it's too
It's development.
it's too much going on right now. That's key to
Yeah.
Notre Dame taking this next step. And he's right in the crosshairs of it all.
Of what's gonna make us the
A-
championship level or not.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like an important part of being the next level.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, Al Washington is that piece right there. That's top five. That's top five. Left number two.
For you or me. For me,
No, we're gonna do this together.
okay, yeah. My second concern, I really want to see, obviously, how we get a form an identity offensively.
Mm,
Because it's one thing to have a bunch of ingredients, but if you don't know how to put it together to make that soup right, you can burn it. And then all them good quality ingredients can go to waste.
mm,
So we're gonna have to see how Tommy's gumbo water tastes. Because you know, we got the fresh crab, king crab at the quarterback position. We got some king crab,
mm-hmm,
some nice potatoes and sausage in the receiver room. We
mm-hmm,
got the rice and but if that gumbo water is bad, Tommy, you don't have your measurements right.
mm.
You got too much water, not enough Old Bays, too much water, not enough salt and pepper.
That roux
So
ain't right.
it's gonna
Roux.
taste what?
Mm,
Bland.
yeah.
You're gonna have a bland offense, 80th in the country. How you 80th in the country and you the top 15? How? Things that can't happen. So that would be my second one. How is the offensive identity be formed early and often?
That's something we talked about yesterday. Run versus pass at Notre Dame. What happens? Do we get pass happy because, oh man, now we got a quarterback and we just leave our identity or the identity that Marcus Freeman said he wanted to lay, which is run the ball and stop the run. Notre Dame has yet to stop the run
Yeah.
consistently. That's the next step. They've shown they can run the ball, especially in big games. But can they stop the run? Can you stop
And
the run?
and that, like you said, it involves D lineman, but it also, which is another step, is who in that linebacker room is going to run the room? Is that linebacker room going to be ready with the inexperience? Because behind the D line that needs fixing is that linebacker that needs to make plays.
That's number three. That's number three.
Yeah.
Because we're tired of hearing about it.
Tired.
Tired of hearing about how great the
I'm still
linebacker
here. I'm still
class
here.
is from a recruiting standpoint.
Tired of it.
You got to do some things. You got to do some things. We got to see it. We have to see it. Now, I will give credit to JD Bertrand, right? He played better at the end of the year. You saw his leadership, especially when they played the youngsters a lot more. He stepped up. JD Bertrand, and I know most people will be like, I want to see somebody else. JD Bertrand is going to be on the field the vast majority of the time in 2023. Forget what we think. The people inside that building feel like he has tremendous value. We just need JD Bertrand to consistently give us what he gave us at the end of the season. Like, I don't need early season JD Bertrand. I don't. I don't. He's played enough football to be able to consistently give you the performance that he gave you down the stretch and into the bowl game. And it's going to be vitally, vitally important that he does that. Vitally important that he does that. Lucky Lefty Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Also, Lucky Lefty Podcast on YouTube. Hit the notification bell. Smash that like button. Share, let everybody know about the Lucky Lefty Podcast, all of our great videos and great content. Just put one up. Luck dropped his top 5 offenses. His 2 early top 5 offenses in 2023. Podcast available once again, CFB Nation, in conjunction with Irish Breakdown. Just talked to my brother John Garcia Jr. earlier today. Man, got some great content. He just dropped a great podcast talking about the transfer portal and also Kamani McLean's commitment to Colorado. You already know, along with Lucky Lefty Podcast, we spin it different. So we're going to get to some of your questions as well towards the end of the show. We're on number 3. Number 3 were the linebackers. Left, number 4. Well, I'll go ahead and throw number 4 out there for left. Number 4 is freaking Charlie Jones. Freaking Charlie Jones. What does that mean? Somebody's going to have to step up in that wide receiver room. Somebody's going to have to become a dude. Somebody's going to have to intimidate opposing secondaries. Somebody's going to have to give Sam Hartman that target that he can depend on. Tyler Buckner, that target that he can depend on. Somebody's going to have to approach 1,000 yards in receiving. Somebody should approach double-digit touchdowns. Too much talent, too many stars. Go get it done. Chancey Stuckey, love what I saw at times from the wide receivers. I know the wide receivers at Notre Dame are going to block and support the running game. We all know that. We all know that. They have a history of doing that. We feel confident, very confident, that that's going to happen. But the route running, the vertical threats, the drag routes, the deep ends, which seem to be Deion Colzie's favorite route, all of those need to come into fruition. And I don't want to hear anything, right? So according to the fan base and everybody, everything has been solved because Sam Hartman is the quarterback. That was the buzz, right? Right? That was the buzz. Everything offensively has been solved because Sam Hartman is here. Bring the Heisman to South Bend. Bring the national title trophy to South Bend. Bring it all because Sam Hartman's here. Look, man, you got to make plays, right? I just saw a wide receiver win 2 championships and jump into the transfer portal. A wide receiver that caught a touchdown in every playoff game in the last 2 years for the University of Georgia. Go look at his stats. He wasn't targeted a lot, but when he got his moment, he made the plays. That's it. Are we going to have a guy that's going to get over 50 receptions? Might we have a wide receiver that gets over 70 receptions? Who knows? One thing's for sure. At the end of the day, you're going to need 2 to 3 guys that can make plays in the biggest games, in the biggest moments. It's needed. It's flat out needed. I feel like the wide receiver room offensively, I feel if a car was representative or represented the Notre Dame offense, the driver for the longest time hasn't been able to see over the steering wheel, and the wide receivers that have been the tires, man, we've been we've been driving on spares. We've been driving around on spares with a driver that can't see over the steering wheel. That's an erratic offense, all over the place, weaving in and out. That's been the Notre Dame offense. Last but not least, number 5. I thought about this. We thought about this and discussed it. There could be a lot to this, right? There could be a lot to this. I thought about, Marcus Freeman could go at 5 because he still has to grow as a head coach. Then I thought, well, Harry Heastand could be at 5 because he's going to have to figure out how to replace a leader like Jared Patterson, a senior at right guard like Josh Love. He's going to have to find a way to take care of that interior part of the offensive line, which is key, not only in pass pro, but in run blocking. But then I looked and I said, it's this one thing. Brian Mason has to stack years and not only continue to do great things in special teams, but now we need to see diversity. Because every time Notre Dame had big time years, they had big time threats in the return game. This is why I went ahead and threw this at 5. And a lot of people said, man, Brian Mason was one of the best coaches. His unit was arguably the best unit on the team. You're right. But we're talking about getting to a national championship. Notre Dame's going to have to stack that. They're going to have to stack another great year on special teams. And not only do that, surpass what they did last year. Now, that doesn't mean block as many punts, but I need block punts, right? I need a field goal kicker that's a little bit more efficient than Blake Rupe. I need a punt. I need a punter that's going to be just as efficient as John Sott, or even better. I need a punt returner that strikes fear. I don't just want the punt block to strike fear. I want the threat of the punt block and the threat that if we get this off, then we have to worry about the punt returner. And I want 2 dudes back there on kickoff. So no matter what side you kick to, it's a problem. That's what we need. That's what we need at Notre Dame. Because every time Notre Dame,
Evan Hester, Joshua Cribbs type of guy.
Man, it has value. It has value. I will say this. If you had a more elusive punt returner this year with speed, they probably take 2 or 3 to the house.
Yeah, because we got Brian Mason.
Because I think the opportunities were there. Brandon Joseph was just Man, Brandon Joseph was like, you know how you play
He was
somebody?
there and he wasn't there.
Yeah, you know how you play somebody? EA Sports was Madden or NCAA football and they get injured and you decide to still play them instead of putting them on the injured reserve list or the injured list.
Yeah.
And they only can run at like 70% of their real speed. That was like Brandon Joseph on punt return.
Yeah, I don't know how he got elected as the punt returner because I'm pretty sure we got some more dynamic players that could have made plays. So I don't
What's
know.
that? Is that a Duval t-shirt you got on, bro?
No, it's not a Duval t-shirt. I had to take my
Okay.
sweatshirt off. I had a
Okay.
Bay
'Cause, you
emergency.
know, those are the Jag colors you got on.
They're not.
That's a
This is
little
the
teal.
color of the water in the pool in the Jacksonville Stadium.
Oh, okay. Because I saw the
You
little
just
teal in your t-shirt. I thought maybe you went
here we
and found
go.
some proof of your
Nah, I got
fandom.
proof now. You'll see the proof all week once we win.
Oh, oh, that
Send Patty Mahomes packet.
I don't know, man. You secretly have something against Pat Mahomes too. I don't know what it
No, no,
is.
no. I love Patty Mahomes. Just Joe Burrow's 3-0 against him. That's all.
Yeah. So went ahead and you left. When you left, we left off on the linebackers. Number 4, wide receivers, bro. And
Oh
I
yeah.
called it the freaking Charlie Jones part of the show. Look, bro, and I've never seen a wide receiver core get out produced
Outproduced.
by one player.
All that scholarship money. Think about all that scholarship money we spent on the receiver room. That's like $5-10 million. If you add it all up, right? Carry the one, you know,
He said carry the one.
that's about $10 million in scholarships. And Charlie Jones,
Man,
how much it costs to go to Purdue? 50,000 maybe? Less than that. That's how much it costs to get production. Less than 50,000. We spending millions and getting out produced by one guy. Not a room, not the produce even room. Because if we had the other receivers in the room, it'd probably be even crazy.
like last year, we were happy to see release packages, bro. You
Think about
understand?
that.
That's what Chancey Stuckey was coming into,
Think about
right?
that. Not
We were coming
Not
in,
coming off a
you
Heisman
know.
Devontae Smith at Alabama receiver.
No, you got one of your wide receivers, your senior wide receiver, talking about he's going to YouTube to look at run
Was
routes and
Jerry
release
Judy talking
packages.
about that?
No, that was Avery Davis.
No, I'm just saying, just imagine Alabama receivers with Jalen
Oh,
Waddle and all them boys. Yeah,
no,
man, going into the season.
no,
Yeah, I'm named Jalen Waddle. My first time learning about a release package was what?
And then the springtime came, and then the fall came, and then we heard this.
Well, this is the fastest I've ever felt. I'm always going to feel the most confident in my speed. More than anything, I feel most confident in kind of my release packages more so now than the past. I want press that plays to my advantage, and being able to be technical at the line, and then being able to use my speed. It's a huge advantage to myself. It's not something that I've had in my arsenal as much in the past, whether it be my legs or my arms, whatever the issue is, or whether it be just lack of overall technique. But now, I feel that playing at the line of scrimmage with the DB plays to my advantage, because if I beat him at the line, I feel very few, if any, can run with me.
So okay, we get it. Chancey Stuckey's first year. Chancey had a lot to deconstruct, bro. Look, you had seniors that had been there saying, "Look, I don't know what is my arms, my legs, whatever the struggle was. The technique just wasn't there."
I didn't even know I was this fast.
I
You 5 years in not knowing that?
So hey, there were plenty of injuries in that room last year that kept young men off the practice field. Hopefully, another off season, some more strength. We can see even greater technique, even better route running, and hopefully more production. I set the bar low, left. I said I just want a receiver that can get 50 receptions. That's it. That's it. Just give me 50. I'm cool with that. Just give me 50 and spread it around. Because there's plenty of options. Plenty of options in that room. Got big body Caleb Smith. Got Tobias Merriweather, your big play guy.
I mean, we have a range.
Deion Cozy.
Jaden
Lorenzo Styles
Thomas.
Jr. returning to his form. Jaden Thomas. You saw him come on middle of the season, bowl all the way through the bowl game. Dependable. Look, who do you think Sam Hartman's going to fall in love with, though?
I think naturally it's going to be Caleb Smith because that's his transfer guy.
Mm.
I think that'll be some connection there. But Sam Hartman has a plethora of guys he can choose from a Styles to a Cosley to a Thomas to a Smith. He can get the young. I don't even think he'll be involved that much more through with the Braylon James and the Jaden Gray House. I think that's more of a Kenny Minchie's guys he'll be working with in terms of primarily reps taken. But I can see a Jordan Gray House maybe sneaking into a one or two rotations into like maybe a team period or your one-on-one periods. He tries to get up to the front matchup with some of the quarterbacks. But Caleb Smith, I really do believe, is going to be his number one guy just due to they transfer together. They probably had a lot of talks coming in. And I think Tommy's going to reward both of those guys by at least getting them involved in a lot of things together.
Man, little man's punch is getting a little more powerful, bro.
It's getting a little stronger.
It's getting a little stronger, boy. That duffel bag is getting closer. Duffel bag is getting closer.
Marcus Freeman got to hit you up a little sooner.
Lucky Lefty podcast, man. Those are our top five. Fifth for me, Left. A lot of people. We had some great people in the chat. Some people brought up Al Golden. I mentioned the continued maturation of Marcus Freeman, but ultimately I settled on Brian Mason and special teams getting even better.
Oh yeah,
and going beyond the punt blocks.
Because them being a flashpoint was more than we've had in a long time from our special teams unit.
Mm-hmm.
So that just shows we're just happy to have anything. Now that we're getting some life, let's really turn it up and have some returns and everything with it. So Brian Mason reminded us that we have a third unit to this Notre Dame team. and that third team is productive and can change game and change life for us in the season. Make it a lot less hard on our offense and defense of being so perfect.
Yeah.
Defense have had a lot of weight on the shoulders. I think you're getting more of a 1/3 split as opposed to a uneven one.
Lucky Lefty Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify. It's for the Culture Friday. We're doing our top fives. We just gave you the top 5 most important things for a championship for Notre Dame in 2023. Top 5 things that we need. Coming up next, Left, we're going to dig into what caused this inspiration for today's show. We're going to talk some NFL playoffs, Notre Dame style. And then we motivated people yesterday. That's what we do. That's how you know that you're doing things right, when you impact the culture. And based upon the comments we got after yesterday's show and some of the tweets I saw, we impact the culture more than we even thought. It's the Lucky Lefty Podcast. You already know we spin
it different.
So, Left, sometime during yesterday's show, by the way, I'm going to leave today and I'm going to go over to Oak Forest, which is probably like a 10-minute trip from where I live in the south suburbs of Chicago. And I'm going to stop in at Crumble. And I'm going to ask for that honey bun cookie.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to ask for the honey bun cookie. Let me tell you how influential. My sister was here yesterday. She heard the show. And my sister goes out on a date. She goes downtown. She's coming back from the date. She texts me. And she said, "This is how you know you're a good big brother."
It's how you know?
This is how you know you're a good big brother. She said, "Shaun, you want anything from Insomnia Cookies?" And I said, boy, let me tell you. I said, boy. I said, boy, boy, boy. This is when sowing seed pays off, boy. This is when you reap the harvest, bro. This is when you reap the
This
harvest.
is how you know you're touching the audience,
You
man.
touching the
You know you touching
audience.
the
You
audience.
touching the audience. So I said, yeah, I'm not gonna be greedy. I said, I just want one chocolate chunk, one oatmeal raisin. That's all I want. I'm not gonna be greedy. So I'm watching TV with the missus. Doorbell rings. I mean, she walks in. Here you go, bro. It was fantastic.
And it's really the little things, man.
But
You
this
know,
is hold
it's the
on.
little benefits. It ain't about the money.
Then I look at my Twitter page last night, and I have 3 tweets from people that have watched the show.
Okay.
And I'm like, word? Straight up? And one tweet from our boy Dallas and the one Hogue. No, matter of fact, it was sent to the Lucky Lefty podcast. I was looking on my personal. Let me go ahead over to the Lucky Lefty podcast. Yes, Lucky Lefty podcast from my boy Dallas fan in DC. Go Irish. At Lucky Lefty podcast, y'all got me up and crumble cookies at 9 p.m. tonight.
Because it closed at 10.
Yeah, yeah. Then I go to the comments on the YouTube channel, and somebody says, "Drank way too much tonight. Had to go grab some crumble cookies to help out." Bro, we influence the masses, bro. We influence the masses. Man, I love chopping up with the chat each and every day, talking to you guys on your posts, even after that. And Left, you inspired me, bro. I'm gonna try the honey bun cookie.
Just try it.
I'm gonna try the honey
Just
bun
try it.
cookie out.
The only thing I don't understand and what I don't like about crumble is they don't make the small, like reasonable size cookies because they only sell those in catering. But if you just buying a single cookie, they make them huge. So that's the only thing I don't like.
Oh, that stinks then. So if they cater, they give you the smaller cookies?
If you cater, they give you the bite-sized individual like Chips Ahoy or something. But if you get if I'm just buying some cookies, you gotta get the big ones. So that's where insomnia wins for me because I don't sometimes like always the giant cookie.
Mm-hmm. What's up, Lil Lee?
He said, "Yeah, get on the show." They say, "What's up?"
Yes, sir. See, he wants that NIL money already. Look at him. Now he wants to get paid for his appearance. Look at him. What's up, Lil Lee? So, look, and now I can't wait. I told my daughter and hit her up last night. My daughter, she's a huge basketball fan. So they played Arizona last night. So she hits me up for the scouting report early in the day, right? And she's like, yo, what do you think is going to happen? They play Arizona on the road. I'm like, um, I don't think it's going to go too good for y'all. And she's like, what? I'm like, yo, I was like, Arizona has some big dudes.
They do.
I was like, there's some big dudes. And you guys don't really have too much
They
size
got a lot
down
of
there.
guard
So,
play. They're
yeah,
so similar in football and basketball how they recruit. They like a lot of flash. They're not gonna get in the meat and potatoes and the trenches of things, and you can't win off of that.
yeah, there's Coach Vic. He said he tried the snickerdoodle ice cream at Crumble.
Now that's
Oh,
good.
that's his recommendation.
See,
Snickerdoodle ice cream.
Coach
Word?
Vic, you know something. You know something. No baby, no baby.
So it's for the Culture Friday. And before we get into Notre Dame's top 5 games in 23, are you gonna check out that new house party, bro?
Is that at LeBron's house? I'm just trying to understand.
I don't know if that's legitimately his house, but I'm kind of I don't know. I would love to support. I want to support, but I'm kind of stuck in neutral. Like, I don't know if I really want to go see this
I
movie.
think it'll be better like when it comes on TV because you know they're gonna play it on FX or something or TNT like all
Yeah,
day. You know, LeBron got a lifetime contract with them NBA services.
right. I don't know. I might check it out. I might check it out this weekend,
Yeah,
me and
yeah,
the
yeah.
missus, bro. There's really nothing else. Really nothing else is out there until Ant-Man drops.
I think LeBron's going to dive into his movie bag once he plays with Bronny a couple years for sure.
So let's get into the top 5 games from the Notre Dame schedule. The 3 big games we know, right?
Clemson, USC, Ohio State. We can get
Right,
those 3 out the way.
right. Give me the one game that you look at the schedule and you say, mm,
I could see one of those games being a Stanford, but it's always a one-off. You know, I'm only saying Stanford because we have to finish there in California, and it's something about going to California at the end of the season that gives us trouble sometime with SC or Stanford. So that'd be my only like. I feel good about it, obviously, but you know we lost last year. We're going out there, you know, we got the whole thing, and so I think it'll be interesting. Duke
yeah,
may be a challenge. I see somebody mention Duke
that was because of where it is on the
because of
schedule.
where it is.
That I'm always worried about the week after an emotional big game,
Yeah.
right? Because you're not going to get that same emotion and you're not going to play that same level as a team, but you still have to find a way to win.
But do you think Duke is more of a concern than Pitt? I think Pitt is more of a concern than Duke because Pitt is
Duke
usually
has
a
a better
really good
quarterback.
defensive team, huh?
Duke has a better quarterback.
They do, but Duke doesn't have the talent Pitt has. Pitt has been getting some talent. They had Jordan Addison.
Okay, well, what did they
Yeah,
do
Jordan
once they
Whitehead.
lost it? Once they lost their quarterback, what did they do?
I mean, they had Keaton Slovis. You know, we was trying to get Keaton Slovis. I'm glad we didn't make that mistake.
They have is it Devin Leary? Is that what Devin Leary went?
No, Devin Leary went to Kentucky.
He went to Kentucky.
Who went to Pitt?
Who went to Pitt? Help us out, chat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who the quarterback at Pitt is.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I think some people wouldn't say Pitt over Duke.
Oh, that's right.
But I like Pitt as a team.
Phil transferred to Pitt.
Oh, that's right.
That's right.
That's right. Okay, let's make better case. I think Pitt is better than Boston College, and where'd he go after that? No, he stayed at Boston. I think Pitt is better than Boston College, and he'll make Pitt better. Will he make it Kenny Pickett better where they win 10 games? He can't stay healthy long enough for that.
Lakewood was better than Boston College last year.
We was nice, but oh, no.
That Boston College team was awful, bro.
Yeah. And it's crazy because they got Zay Flowers. No, I'm surprised he didn't try to transfer out.
Well, I think his eligibility was up. Zay Flowers is going to be a sneaky pickup for an NFL team, too.
Great, yeah. Because he flew under the radar because his team was bad.
The only thing with Phil is he too physically beat up.
Yeah, but you know what's so crazy? That doesn't matter because apparently Will Levis, him being beat up is a sign of character. Mel Kiper,
that can get you drafted number 1 overall, right?
Yeah, he's number 1 overall because he's beat up all the time, and he somehow it has all these intangibles by being beat up and tough. So that's gonna make him a valuable aspect for a team being injury prone. So I don't understand how they justify some of these critiques, but him definitely being hurt and injury prone, we've seen the effects of that from our own quarterback.
Yeah, Jason Smith has it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, how it's harped our chances in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm. Jason Smith makes a good point here. Pitt is dangerous, but the emotional high it would take for Ohio State makes Duke more dangerous. That I mean that they're
But come
going to.
on, like, is Ohio State as dangerous as they will be next year? This year, next year? No way.
Come on, bro.
Who are
Stop.
you afraid of Ohio State next year? Who?
Ohio State.
Ryan Day?
No, that big monster on the outside wearing 18.
Oh, but who's gonna be throwing it?
It don't make a difference. You still have to stick him.
Marvin Harrison wouldn't be considered in the transfer portal if it
Michael
didn't
Mayer
matter.
was still great with Drew Pine, right? We're gonna stop playing this game. Great players can be great with subpar.
Hey, tight ends are different than receivers, though. Tight ends different.
Okay, so did Harrison make CJ or did CJ make Harrison?
CJ was fortunate enough to be made by Paris Campbell and those guys he had before him coming off of or was it Dwayne or was it Justin Fields? But then CJ also is talented enough where he's elevated those young guys at Ohio State that were able to play the first game against us because he didn't have his boy Jackson and Jigba. Marvin Harrison Jr. was still coming on because remember, we was like, Marvin Harrison Jr. is great, but he ain't never played before. CJ made him a number one receiver in the country because he trusted him and he threw it to him a lot. So I think Kyle McCord, will he have that same impact on Marvin Harrison Jr.? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So who are you afraid of unless they're going to be running him at quarterback?
First of all, wait a minute, dude. Don't ask me the question like the quarterback is the only person you got to be afraid of on the football field.
Well, last year I was only afraid of C.J. Stroud against Ohio State last year. That's the only factor that's going to either make it a blowout or a close game.
Well, that's not football. Nobody thought they were going to blow up Notre Dame out. We didn't.
No, I know we didn't, but many people said they was going to smoke us because they had CJ. Now, Ohio State fans, they're going to smoke us how? They're not going to talk about, we got CJ in a running game. How? Now, they might talk about the running game because they're going to look at our they're going to look at our numbers from last year. They're going to look at our depth chart weight and be like, they got a guy 250 on the line? Oh, yeah, we're running up the middle.
Boy, you out here like the wolf today, boy. You huffing and puffing.
What?
You huffing and puffing.
Who are we afraid of on Ohio State going into next year?
Man,
nobody.
You're not about to sit up here and disrespect Marvin Harrison Jr. like that, dude. Stop.
Marvin Harrison Jr. isn't going to take over a game to where I'm worried that he's going to beat us because it's got to have a guy throwing it to him. Kyle McCord throwing to him is not C.J. Stroud throwing to him. It's a different confidence.
This year, teams that played Notre Dame said we're not about to allow who to beat us.
Okay, but I'm saying.
Wait a minute. Answer the question.
Nobody, but Caleb.
What do you mean? They said we're not about to allow 87 to beat us. That's every team that faced Notre Dame.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah, very true.
He ain't had nobody throwing to him.
But Michael Mayer's impact on the game is also different than what a Marvin Harrison Jr.'s impact on the game was. Marvin Harrison Jr. playing on the outside.
Now you're about to tell me he's a better ball catcher than Marvin Harrison Jr.
Not a ball catcher, overall a better productive player in the game for what we asked him to do. We asked Michael Mayer to block in the trenches. We asked Michael Mayer to make big plays in the middle of the field. Marvin Harrison Jr. is catching everything on the sideline, tippy toes, and all that. We don't have a quarterback for that.
Can I ask you a hypothetical question? You a hypothetical question?
Hypothetical question.
If Marvin Harrison Jr. does not get injured in that semifinal game, who wins?
Say it again.
That's
a loaded question.
No, it's not loaded at all. Because if Marvin Harrison Jr. does not get injured in that Peach Bowl,
still have C.J. Stroud on the field.
There we go.
Now, if we had Kyle McCord.
You just said C.J. Stroud was this dude that elevates everybody, and that's the only person I'm scared of. Okay, then.
Yes, he does.
Okay, then.
C.J. Stroud does. Yes, he does.
Why didn't he win then?
Because
why didn't he win?
But they come in pairs now.
Here we go.
Marvin Harrison Jr. is the best receiver in the country.
Come on, man.
So mix the best receiver in the country with the best quarterback in the country. Of course they would win.
So basically, you're telling me that you have no fear of the best wide receiver in the country next year.
None. Because who's their quarterback?
Okay.
Who's their quarterback?
Okay. All right.
Did you see some of the throws CJ was giving Marvin Harrison? Like the one where Marvin Harrison got knocked out? You see how CJ dropped it in the back of the end zone? Kyle McCord is not making that throw.
Fam, are you really? A desperation throw where he just threw the ball 50 feet up in the air. You really trying to make that seem like that was a pinpoint throw?
Okay, that's an example, but we can talk about more examples.
I'll give you the scramble to the right where Marvin
We threw
reverse
it into the
field
end zone.
to the corner. Okay, I'll give you
Okay,
that.
now what
But that
about
lollipop? You come on, stop
now
that.
what about the throw that he made to Marvin Harrison that got him on ESPN where he threw it on the sideline and tippy toe grab and all that? Does Kyle McCord make that throw? Absolutely not. Absolutely
So
not.
the tippy toe grab and all of that just meant nothing, huh?
The ball has to be in a place where you can make an opportunity to grab it. That's why it's a dependent position. Michael Mayer, Drew Pine can throw it anywhere in the vicinity.
You're trying to use a ball that this man left out there for him to get killed as an example. Come on, Left.
Man, I'm
Come
just
on, Left.
saying, CJ Stroud's impact to Marvin Harrison Jr. is a huge thing that I was concerned about going into the game. What are we actually concerned about going into the Ohio State game next year? They don't got no run defense, so we already know that. We they barely have secondary, and our offensive receivers are going to be way better next year. Then you flip to the offensive side. Who are we worried about offensively that our defense isn't?
Basically,
ready
what you're
for?
saying, man, look at the way Lil Leak is looking at you right now. He's like, Dad, you
The
tripping.
support.
That's what he's supporting. He got your back. So basically, you're saying there's no one on the Ohio State offense that strikes fear. That you're fearful of. Nobody.
I don't think Cam is looking at anybody on the Ohio State receiver roster.
No. I said anybody. You said there's nobody I'm afraid of on the Ohio State offense. That's what you said.
Yes.
Okay.
That we can't handle.
Okay.
Who can't we handle?
Okay.
Travion Henderson? What? He had like 20 yards against us. I'm lying. Hey. Travion Henderson had more yards than us. But he's not going to win the game for Ohio State against us. You're going to have to need a quarterback to beat us.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to need a running game to beat us.
Okay.
And then defensively, you're just going to have to be nasty up front. And we have an offensive line. They don't have
their defense is actually going to be better next year.
They're going to be better, but because they're another year in, not because they got life-changing players. Who's a life-changing defensive player on the Ohio State team that Tommy's like, man, we got to chip double block. Look out!
They only have a top 5 recruiting class every year, so I'm pretty sure they have talent.
Yeah, but they're also giving up 45 points too in the playoff game
to Georgia. What are you talking about?
Well, our offense will be good like that next year, provided that obviously.
How many points do you think Georgia would have scored on Notre Dame this year? Keep it a buck.
Scored on Notre Dame?
Yes, keep it a buck.
They would have been in the 40s.
Okay.
They wouldn't have gave us 63.
Now
they wouldn't have had enough time.
Now you're being like some of these Notre Dame fans. Stop lowering yourself to TCU.
No, they wouldn't have gave us 63. No.
We know that. So why even mention TCU?
Yeah,
dude, we're not mentioning TCU. Of course, Notre Dame wouldn't give up 63.
They might get 38-42 on us. 38-42. We gave CJ Stroud 21 points. Nobody's talking about that. Nobody's gonna talk about that.
Look,
we gave CJ Stroud 21.
So you're putting the Pitt game on the top 5 list. Yes. You got the Clemson game, the USC game, the Ohio State game, the Pitt game, and now we're arguing between Duke because you don't want to give Riley Leonard any credit. Now you argue. Wait a minute, hold on. Now you argue for the quarterback, right? But then you want to make it seem like you're not fearful of Riley Leonard as a quarterback, but you argue for the quarterback.
Okay.
With Ohio State.
Now we both agree that Ohio State's a very talented football team. Now, when they have a juggernaut in CJ Stroud, that becomes the X factor. That's the difference when you're playing another team that's a dominant team like us. The difference between us and Ohio State is a quarterback, but we both have very, very talented teams. Now, you go to Duke. Duke doesn't have more talent than us on a team-to-team basis. Like, if you looked at paper to paper, we're way more talented on paper than Duke. Now, the difference would be the quarterback, right? But the quarterback doesn't have enough of a supporting cast around him to me to feel like, oh, Duke's going to be a problem unless we just go out there and lay eggs. Now, if we go out there and lay eggs, yes, anybody can be a problem that has a quarterback. Now, when we're talking about Ohio State versus
next year, that's the week after Ohio State. You expect them to play back-to-back great games?
I don't believe it'll be that much of an emotional game for us at Ohio State. Like, for instance, do you think that we were emotional after we whooped up on Clemson
So
last year?
they're not going to be coming into Notre Dame Stadium. Ohio State coming to Notre Dame Stadium. You don't think Notre Dame is going to be emotional for some revenge and get back?
I don't believe we'll be. I think we'll treat that game because it's not the same team we're playing as the same we treated Clemson. We whooped Clemson. It wasn't emotional the week after that, and that was a game that we haven't won since 2018. So I would expect, obviously the Clemson Notre Dame game was emotional. We talked about it a lot, but when we whooped them, it wasn't no emotional game after that. We whooped the team after that. Oh no, we didn't whoop the team
What?
after that. We won after that, the week after, because the week after was Navy, right? Or was it a bye week or what was
I
it?
was about to say they played their best game the week after that.
No, they didn't play their best game. But
Okay then.
Navy's
Okay
an
then.
interesting case.
No. Don't start giving caveats.
Navy's definitely an interesting case.
No, I don't want to hear that.
Navy's an
No, I
interesting
don't want
case.
that interesting case, all that stuff. No, sir.
But all I'm saying is
They
that Duke
won
isn't.
35-32 against Navy the week after. Like I
Do,
said, it was a C effort after an emotional game at home.
do you think Pitt as a team is coached better than Duke as a team? I think Pitt's
No,
a better coach team.
no. Are you serious? I think Mike Elko's just as good as a coach as Pat Narduzzi.
So now, so who do you think is the better team? Pitt?
No, you're asking me who's the better program. Because I know Pitt just brought in a recruiting class that had 0 4-stars or 5 stars. 0.
But those freshmen are going to make
0.
impact in this year's game anyway.
Okay. And they weren't top 5 in transfers.
No.
They got Phil Jacobic. So you telling me, all right, you got Phil Jacobic. Give me the skill position players that scare me on Pitt.
That's what I'm saying. Okay.
I'll wait.
Now that's
the offensive line. The offensive line was mid last year. They're going to be just as mid this year. Give me the skill players on Pitt that scare you.
Nobody. But the difference is Pitt is always a team that plays well. They have a bunch of talent. I mean, I'm sorry. They may not have the premier talent, but they play well as a team. They're like the suburb team that always beats the city league team that's really good. Those sparingly years, and you'd be like, they play the suburb team, they get beat by like 40 points. But I'm saying that Pitt as a team plays better against us, at least, than what a Duke would, even if they had a better quarterback. Duke just doesn't have enough talent to match up to us to be worried about them. Pitt plays well together and is coached well enough to be worried about if we're not on our P's and Q's, at least comparatively to Duke. And any first-year head coach is not going to be, like, for instance, Nebraska. I got Dion going 6-6, maybe 7-6. They played Nebraska week 2. I got them beat Nebraska because no way Matt Rule is going to have Nebraska ready to win with all the transition happening at Nebraska. Now, it's different than Colorado because Dion got transfers. Dion getting the best of the best. He's building a team. They just got Kamani McLean, who will probably play next year with Travis on the other side. No? I think Pitt's a better team than Duke.
We're not arguing team. They weren't better than Duke this year.
No.
Okay, then.
They play us better.
Stop being so dismissive of Ohio State. And stop being dismissive of Duke.
What is dismissive about Ohio State?
You're being dismissive, bro.
In what way? Do you think Ryan Day's a better coach than Marcus Freeman?
Ryan Day is about to take the field with a bunch of scrubs. A roster full of scrubs. Do you think
Ryan Day is a better coach than Marcus Freeman? No, I do not. So I'm not overhyping that fact. Do you think Kyle McCord is anything of a CJ Stroud? Absolutely not.
Dude, you didn't think CJ Stroud was CJ Stroud 2 games into his first year.
We're talking about
after you watched him play Minnesota terribly, and that second game at home when he turned the ball over early. You thought CJ Stroud was going to turn into CJ Stroud. You big cap now.
That's not fair because I was a CJ Stroud fan before college because of Elite 11 and overtime where he won.
And I know a bunch of people that think Kyle McCord is going to be a dude.
I've seen Kyle McCord, and
Okay.
comparatively to CJ Stroud, they're not the same guy. They're not the same guy. So for them not to be the same guy, and then Kyle McCord have his first year starting, you think he's gonna pop out 4 games later, ready to beat a Notre Dame team? Absolutely not. We have Sam Hartman, who at least is the more veteran quarterback in the situation, where I feel good sleeping at night saying that Sam
But
will have a better performance than Kyle
I
McCord.
don't think Ohio State is going to beat Notre Dame. My point is you're being dismissive. You literally said they have no one to worry about on offense.
But they
No
don't.
one. No
For
one.
us. I'm not saying no
But
one to
then you
worry
want
about in the grand
but
scheme of college football.
then you'll say you'll worry about Phil Jacovic and you can't name any skill players
I
that
don't
he's
know. I'm
throwing
worried
to.
about Pitt as a team. I'm not
Come
worried
on,
about
man.
Ohio State as a threat on offense against our defense.
Okay. Okay.
Ohio State's offense is not more talented than our
Mm-hmm.
defense next year.
Mm-hmm.
CJ Stroud was the difference between Ohio State's offense and our defense last year. And that was by
No,
this.
I disagree.
They only got 21
The
points.
fact that Notre Dame couldn't stop the run was the difference.
Well, that didn't
They
help.
lined up and literally
That was a
ran the
fourth quarter
ball for
thing.
92 yards down our throat.
That was a fourth quarter thing, though.
Okay. Now you can say what you
That was
want to
a
say.
that was a fourth quarter
That
thing.
goes back to the number one thing and number one piece in our
The D
top five.
line.
I don't want to hear nothing about CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud made a couple of third down throws. They literally lined up
That matters.
and
We
ran it.
had CJ
I didn't
Stroud at
say
like,
it didn't matter, but the majority of the drive, they lined up with Mayan Williams and said, we running the ball, and they ran it down our throat.
yeah, but that was fourth quarter.
That's D line, that's linebacker play, which was number two.
Number two
All
was
of that.
linebacker play.
All of that. All I'm saying is have some respect for the players that are walking in the building because it's not like they have 2 and 3 stars on the roster.
No, they got talent. I'm saying all of this is in comparison to a team that also has talent. If we were North Carolina State, I couldn't be talking like this about Ohio State. But we're Notre Dame. We're Notre Dame.
Oh,
There's
fact.
nobody that Ohio State recruited offensively that I'm worried about that we can't handle defensively on Notre Dame's football team.
Okay.
Now, Travion Henderson may give us issues if we're not solving our D line by beefing it up, putting some bricks in our back pocket. But Marvin Harrison Jr. is very dependent on Kyle McCord going in. Thus, why Marvin Harrison is thinking about transferring. I transfer too if I go with Caleb Williams over the quarterback I got now.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes back to, am I worried? Who even is Ohio State's tight ends? We got better tight ends. So we getting better practice every day. Our receiver room is going to be better in the long run, but our receiver room is very talented.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We have a better running back system community than Ohio State does.
Hey, let me ask you a question. This is great. Bernie says CJ Stroud is the best quarterback OSU has ever had. They ain't going to replace that dude. You know what every other quarterback in the last 10 years at Ohio State has done that CJ Stroud never did?
Beat Michigan.
Win a Big Ten championship.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't do. You can talk about him being the best. He didn't win a Big Ten championship.
Oh, so I mentioned that last year. I said he was 1-3 in big games that matter, you know.
So, dude, all this stuff, man, dude, people they act like we just gonna walk on the field and Ohio State just gonna lay down.
Ohio State's not gonna lay down. We're gonna beat them down. Because last year, Clemson had Cade Klubnik, Brian Brzee.
But wait a minute, I'll say that. No. Talk about all the deep. Say what they had, and what did we
KJ
say?
Jefferson.
What did we say? What did we say? Did we not say? And everybody in the chat said we were crazy. Did we not say that Notre Dame was gonna pound the rock against Clemson?
Yeah, absolutely.
We said it. And everybody told us all those great defenders they have. We said Notre Dame's going to run the ball on them.
And we did.
At 5 yards a clip.
Yeah,
You know
I say
why?
5 yards. Every time we touched it, we was right up the middle on them.
We said that. I don't know what every other podcast said. We said that leading up to the game. So I know what Notre Dame can do. I know what they can do against Ohio State. That's not a pushover walking into Notre Dame Stadium in Week 5, bro.
Yeah, and they coming to us.
I'm just saying. And hopefully the fans won't sell the tickets, and the environment will be dope.
Man, we gonna sell them tickets.
So before we get to our predictions in the NFL playoffs,
That
look,
Notre Dame
man,
green be more than the green,
look, you stupid, bro. You stupid. You stupid.
green the strongest color at Notre Dame.
And you see, I didn't even acknowledge your whole Stanford point you tried to make earlier. I'm just gonna go over that.
Just because we lost last year, you don't think that means anything?
Come on, man.
And we gotta go to Stanford.
Look,
Now, in
bro,
a couple years, they got this quarterback that came from my league, Miles Jackson. He's a beast. So not next year, but in a couple years, you might have to worry about him.
okay, but that's not next year.
That's not next year, but
So
he is a beast, though.
We can keep going.
I'm letting people know.
Now, what
Miles
inspired
Jackson.
this? What inspired this is that people were giving their top 5 MCs, like I said, right? It was one person that always ended up in somebody's top 5 because I don't, top 5 is subjective, right? It can be from an era who you grew up with. You really not deep into the hop, so you don't do your homework and go back. That's fine. You can be a prisoner of the moment. That's cool as well. But every time I see this one guy in somebody's top 5, I cringe. I just cringe.
Will Levis has to be.
And look, this is just my personal opinion. But I'm a dude that comes from the hop. I'm a dude that used to wear fat laces in my ponies, my suede ponies, and my Pumas.
Well, they
I'm a
got that
dude.
called that's called Lavins.
I was the little dude in the breakdancing crew of my block that specifically did the helicopter on the linoleum. That was my special move. Into the headstand. That's who I was, bro. So that's where I come from with the hop. People that had Eminem in their top 5, man, that's lazy, bro. It's just flat lazy.
That's like a programmed answer. Y'all heard a couple of them interviews. They said Eminem can out rap everybody and their mama. And
No, I did not say top 5 selling artists. I did not say top 5 artists. I don't argue with numbers. I don't argue with that. But if you start talking about top 5 lyricists, come on, man. Stop. First of all, the dude literally has said in multiple interviews that he got his whole style from Tretch at Naughty by Nature. So he's not even original. He's not even original. He took somebody else's style, applied it to his situation and what he was going through. And then there's other factors to why.
Oh, like a Justin Timberlake.
Eminem is who he is. Eminem's not a top 5 lyricist, man. He's
not if you're not original. You got to be original.
He's not. And I was looking at the list on the message board, and not one person mentioned KRS. Not one. Not one mentioned KRS. Look, it was just that's why I said, man, we have to chop this up. We have to chop this up about the top 5 today, Notre Dame style, and set some things in order. We had a nice debate over the 2 remaining tough games. That's cool. That's cool. But come on, man. I just want to challenge people to dig a little bit deeper than what's given to you commercially when it comes to hip hop. Like I would venture to say that Kendrick Lamar might not even be the best lyricist on TDE.
No, he's not. But
and if
but
I said
he's talented though.
But if I said that, people would be like, oh.
But not many people know how TDE's rostered and all that is. So
that's what I'm saying. That's like do your homework, man. Stop taking stuff commercially and accepting it as Bible when it comes to the culture. Yeah, like you got to do better than that. And he would be in my top 10,
Yeah.
maybe. I have to think about it. Maybe, but he's not top 5. I can't give him that. I
Mm-mm.
can't give him that.
I think J. Cole's a better lyricist than Kendrick.
Hmm.
Man, we got to stop the cap though. Drake's one of the best lyricists easily. Is he in your top 5?
Who, Drake?
Yeah,
Lyricist? Come on, man.
Drake got
Come on, man. Stop. You know,
Drake's
dog.
not.
Don't stop.
Drake's
Stop.
one of the best writers of all time. Songwriters?
Left.
No.
Left. You're talking about a dude that comes from a culture where the best dudes didn't even write stuff down. They just went in the booth and spit. And you want to talk about a dude that sits in a room and collabs with other songwriters? Come on, man. Don't bring that to me, man. Don't. I look, man. I
Drake
can't.
got 55 songs that are hot that he damn near wrote. All them
Okay, now
songs.
that's a different argument. If you ask me, is Drake one of the top 5 hip hop artists of all time? I would say yes.
Okay, so what? Wait.
You said lyricist. He's not one of the top 5 lyricists. No, he's not.
So where does songwriting come in at?
What do you mean?
Songwriting involves being a lyricist, right?
Dude, I just gave you an example of some of the greatest dudes that don't sit down and write songs. They go in the booth and spit
That gives them more credit because they
and
don't write
make
it
a
down.
hit. That person is a better lyricist than a dude sitting in a room with other songwriters trying to make a song. Are you kidding me right now?
You're including people. We're taking individual versus individual. You're saying Drake got 15 people in the room with him. Most of those songs he writes himself. Not all of them. I think he does
Oh,
have
that's
good
the point. That's the point. The fact that you said not all of them. Because there's no one else on my top 5 that got help from anybody else writing songs. Nobody.
That's fair.
Nobody. That's the point. That's what sets you apart. Like you can be on this level, but you can't be on that level.
So if you got any of the ones you got collabed on, it takes you out of the running, is what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying
Because
it takes you out
technically
of running.
Some of Drake's written
No, no,
stuff,
no.
even though he collabed at times.
I can't say it takes you out of running because it's subjective. I'm
Oh, okay.
telling you where I come from. That's why I prefaced it by
It
saying
takes it
that
out of your running.
the era that I come from, well, most of the dudes didn't have all of this collective help. That wasn't the culture. So they built everything that they did off of their pen and freestyling in the booth. Period. So if you walk in the booth and you just one take something and it becomes one of the greatest verses in hip hop history, and this dude spent 20 hours talking to dudes, writing about something, changing this, changing that, and there's no way you can say that verse is better than this verse. You can't. You just can't. You can't, dude. You can't. You can't say that dude is a dope lyricist. You can't. You can't. I'll give you a perfect example, right? Give you a perfect example. And we can leave it off on this. Rhyme Fest, who is probably earlier in Kanye's career, was pretty much the main ghostwriter for Kanye until Sci came along.
Saha, yeah.
Sci came along. Rhyme Fest was here in Chicago doing his philanthropic works. People don't know this. You go back and research it, right? It used to be this big time before it was underground, and now it's big time battle rapping, right? They have big time events. They show it on closed circuit. I mean, not closed circuit, but they show it. Big money in it now. It was an underground, and there was this big tournament in Cincinnati every year. Rhyme Fest beat Eminem twice in back-to-back years. Smoked them.
Mm.
Proved he was a better lyricist, head to head, which is literally the whole premise of 8 Mile. That was the whole premise of 8
Oh, that was
Mile.
the whole premise of 8 Mile was Rhyme Fest?
No, I'm not Rhyme Fest, but I'm saying battle rapping. That was
Mm.
the whole premise of 8 Mile, but yet still Rhyme Fest spanked Eminem twice in that same arena. But nobody's going to sit here and say Rhyme Fest is a better lyricist than Eminem, even though he spanked them twice and proved it head to head. You understand what I'm saying? So some people that were there or around might say, yo, Rhyme Fest will kill Eminem.
That's why I got it. That's why they say Josh Allen's so good. And he hasn't won anything. He ain't won no MVPs. He ain't won no Super Bowls, no divisional titles.
Man,
And they
look,
calling him the second greatest
look,
thing ever.
look.
And he hasn't won nothing. He ain't won no MVP like Lamar. So why they not paying Lamar justly? But you paying Josh Allen for what?
Man, look.
What are you paying Josh Allen for?
He
Exactly.
LL Nation, he had to find a way
So I'm just
to bring it back to
all come
Josh
full
Allen,
circle.
man. He
When
had to
you
find a way to bring it back to Josh Allen. Oh my Lord. Lucky Lefty Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, CB Nation, and Conjunction Artist Breakdown. We spin it different.
you know it's true.
Who's winning the NFC? Well, I already know your picks for the AFC. Please don't put any money on those picks.
If Jacksonville wins, then I want Josh Allen to win, so then my team can whoop Josh Allen. That's how I want the AFC to go. If Jacksonville wins,
That's a lie because there's no way you want Joe Burrow and the Bengals to lose. So stop.
yeah, it'd be hard. It'd be hard.
Stop.
But NFC wise, I would love to see the Eagles win. I think that would be, good for the league to see the Eagles win. And then I got the 49ers winning just because I think Dallas is going Dallas.
I don't know. You really believe in Brock Purdy like that?
I believe in that defense they got. Dak's not going to be sitting back there making pancakes like he was last week. He went like 20 for 21, perfect QBR. Like,
Yeah.
he's not going to have perfect QBR. So then it's going to come down to who? Zeke got to do better. And right now, they 49ers run defense is not having it. So we're going to see how it goes.
Bernie, maybe in your world, in your culture, everybody knows every word to 8 Mile. There's nobody I grew up with. I can promise. There's no one I grew up with in my crew that knows any of 8 Mile.
Yeah, I don't know any of mine either.
Stop that. I'm sorry to disappoint you. Maybe that's you in the neighborhood and the crew you grew up with. Nobody rocks 8 Mile that hard like that. And no one wants to listen to constant content talking about your mama, your ex-wife,
Spaghetti.
suicide, and all that. No. No. I'm sorry. Lucky Lefty Podcast. So I'll take Jalen Hurts and the Eagles to face off against the 49ers. That Brock Purdy scares me. He has one game in him where he's not going to be good.
Yeah, I'm not hate to try to bank on Purdy, who's hot right now, but he's got everything around him, man. When you have a supporting cast around you, a defense, a head coach, a play caller, Christian McCaffrey, Debo Samuels, like, man, all you got to do is just play with some confidence, and you're gonna look right on point.
That's facts. All right, Left. Everybody, we appreciate you, man. Let's get to these questions, super chats, before we get out of here. Normal WAP, in your view, which is a bigger jump from high school to college football or college football to NFL as a follow on, which is a greater risk and forecasted success at the next level? That's why I can't wait to talk to Bruce Feldman about this.
I'd probably say college football to NFL because it's just a different game. Where high school to college football is similar. You're just playing with better players.
Yeah.
College football, NFL is kind of similar, just a different game in itself. So that's probably harder to project how you're going to be more successful. But, just like basketball, you can project a kid in 7th, 8th grade is going to be nice in college.
Yeah. Facts.
That's more accurate. So
Facts. Q is coming soon, bro. Thank you for the super chat. David Littlefield, does Malik always do the show Hunger? Always talking about food. Not supposed to go grocery shopping on an empty stomach. No, that's just who he is, bro. It ain't got no.
it's about
That's just who he is.
Food's a microcosm of life.
Yeah. Like eating is his love language. You know how most people say food is my love? No, eating is his love language.
Especially Buffalo did.
Domawap again, thank you for the super chat. Malik being extremely passionate while his little one falling asleep on his shoulder, only on Lucky Lefty podcast. Keep spinning it different.
Yeah, it's different today.
Hey, you got to know how to do two things at once, right? Multitask.
Well, one thing at once when he sleep.
Thanks. DBZ, our girl, thank you for the super chat. Black Thought is underappreciated. I totally agree. Totally agree. So, great show today. Thank everybody for joining and tapping in. The climb to 5,000 is real. It's because of you guys. We continue to have continued success. Don't forget Apple Podcasts, Spotify, CFB Nation in conjunction with Irish Breakdown. You already know. And it's different. You know what time it is.
Petticoat. Petticoat Junction.
It's time to get petty.
Well, we did a good job executing.
Are you upset with something?
And fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you.
You don't?
No.
What is today's petty historic? Petty Junction.
Petty Junction, pettiest stories of the day brought to you by Onora Whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com, that premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. Look here, bro. The NBA has to do a better job, man. So, the Chicago Bulls play the Detroit Pistons over in France. First of all, don't fly me over there for me to play one game. That's number one. At least make it be at least allow it to be like 2 games, a 3-game series, something.
One game?
Yeah, you fly me all the way over there to give me 1 game?
Yeah,
that's
because now that's making the 82-game season look crazy.
Facts.
Now we can just fly you to another country for a couple of days
for 1 game. I was like, man, that's not even worth it, man. I can't really even shop and enjoy myself as a player, even though I'm over there for business in the game. But man, come on. What are we really talking about? I don't know if you saw this video, dude. This whole Blueface Krishan relationship, man, it's just to the point, man, where I don't even want to watch it anymore. I just don't. I don't want to watch it anymore. This latest incident, she looked like she was on volume or something. If I was her dad and I was sitting there and I heard my daughter refer to another young man as daddy, I think I would jump through the TV screen and try to, man, look. And people think that's cool, man. That's the crazy thing about it. Like putting that crazy stuff out there, I can't do it, man.
Ever since WAP came out, it was the end of the end.
You think that was it?
I think that was it.
And then WAP turned into Glorilla.
Turned into everything else.
And yeah. And so for the shout out to people, My grandmother. A lot of times, man. Back in the day here in Chicago, this is called what is known now as SNAP, which is federal assistance for families to be able to feed their families. Um, Back in the day, it was a book of money, like almost monopoly money that you would take to stores. And I remember doing that for my grandmother on the West Side, man. And she did it for the period that she needed to before she was able to get back on her feet. But federal government now, man. I'm not here to argue, how much help the federal centralized government, all that political. I ain't here for all of that political crap, yo. But now, you give assistance and then you try to limit what people can buy now. Like they can't get organic stuff, they can't get this, they can't get that. You only have to get this type of food. Now you want to tell people how to spend them. It's you know what, man. It's just upsetting, man, because it seems like it's less and less love in this world. And it just seems like, yeah, you know, I don't know, man. Just seems like it's a lot less love that's being thrown around and people are only concerned about themselves. And I understand it's tough right now, bro. It's tough. I went to Walmart the other day when I was on the phone with you, Left, the other morning. I'm talking to you on the phone. I'm walking to Walmart. I'm trying to prepare a meal, a basic stir fry. I spent like $70, dude, on food. It's crazy. I understand. I understand the price of food and I understand. But it's like, man, at some point, you gotta care and try to help, man. Yeah, man. I remember the food stamp days, bro. I remember the food stamp days. And here we're arguing about how to help the less fortunate. It's yeah, it is what it is. And for it to be like political right now,
Gotta give us a GC speech of the day, man.
no, it hurts. It hurts my heart, bro. It's not even really about being GC, man. I was that kid that, and my mom would tell you this, Left. I was that kid that used to bring everybody to my house to eat breakfast.
Yeah, me too.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
oh, my mom cooking, y'all can come eat over here, yo.
Just come slide. Come slide.
Yeah, slide through. Like, no problem. My mom was looking like,
Man,
really,
don't
man?
bring all them boys in my house, man. Eating all my damn food. And, I just went to the grocery store
I'm
and
that
I
dude, man.
drinking up all the drinks. Why do they all got to get so many drinks?
Right. And
Just take some juice.
it was worse in the summertime. We were out of school, and I knew we had the freezer in the basement with all of the ice cream, the juices, and everything, and I didn't have to go upstairs for anything. Then it got worse. Like, stop running in and out of the door. Stay outside.
Yeah. You be giving anxiety because it be snacks transferring in and out of the house too much. You don't know how the quantities and shit.
Yeah, man.
Kids be wasting food.
That's all left. It's not even a GC moment, man. I just love for people to come with me and be on a good page, man. Whether it's physically, emotionally. I just want everybody to be happy, yo. Be happy and appreciate life. That's it. No matter what's going on. Hey, man, everybody, enjoy the NFL playoffs. Have a great weekend. We'll have multiple guests next week. And most of all, you got to make sure that you spend it different. We'll talk to you.